Independent, 23rd of March 2024, Geographically, where is Arunachal Pradesh? The area at issue between India, China, and now the United States. The United States has recognized Arunachal Pradesh as an integral part of India and vehemently opposes any independent endeavors to assert territorial claims in the northeastern state, which shares a shoddy border with China. Despite China's claimed ownership of Arunachal Pradesh in southern Tibet, India has maintained for years that the region is an integral and inalienable part of the country. The ongoing dispute in border diplomacy has arisen since March 9, when Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated a tunnel at an elevation of 3,962 meters in Arunachal Pradesh. The Sela Tunnel, intended to provide year-round access to the strategically significant Tawang region of the state, is anticipated to facilitate military mobility in the area. Additionally, the conduit will help India strengthen its defenses along the line of actual control, LAC, a 3,500-kilometer unofficial border with China. The Chinese Ministry of National Defense disapproved of the tunnel's inauguration and advised India to cease any actions that further complicate the border dispute and sincerely strive to preserve peace and stability in the border regions. The Defense Ministry's spokesman, Colonel Zhang Gang, further stated that the tunnel opening in Arunachal Pradesh, known locally as Zangnan, contravenes the bilateral efforts to alleviate the border situation. China and India contested their borders, and India quickly countered China. Reiterating baseless arguments in this regard lends no credibility to such claims, said Randhir Jaiswal, a spokesperson for the Indian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. On Wednesday, Principal Deputy Spokesperson for the United States State Department Vedant Patel told the media, "We vehemently oppose any unilateral efforts to advance territorial claims across the line of actual control through incursions or encroachments, whether military or civilian." As tensions rose, China vehemently opposed the United States' position regarding the contested region. The delineation of the China-India border has never been finalized, Lin Zhen, a spokesperson for the Foreign Ministry, told reporters. The roughly 3,000-kilometer, approximately 1,860-mile-long, border separating the two nuclear-armed neighbors is primarily undefined. According to the crisis group, the longest contested border in the world, spanning the Himalayas, is the Sino-Indian border. An enduring boundary dispute between the two nations culminated in an armed conflict in 1962, with India emerging victorious. The first confrontations along their shared frontier in the western Himalayas since decades began in 2020, resulting in the deaths of at least 20 Indian soldiers and 4 Chinese soldiers. In January 2021, an additional clash ensued, leading to casualties among troopers from both factions. This incident transpired near the Indian state of Sikkim, between Bhutan and Nepal. The crisis group noted that India and China disagree even on the extent of the line of actual control, LAC. India estimates it to be 3,488 kilometers. At the same time, China claims it is only 2,000 kilometers. India asserts sovereignty over the Aksai Chin Plateau and Arunachal Pradesh, which China recently claimed on new maps, thereby reigniting border tensions. India has officially protested these assertions, and the Indian Minister of External Affairs, S. Jaishankar, has downplayed the importance of China's unilateral territorial claims. Observers note that the border dispute, which dates back to the colonial era, has broader implications for regional stability, international relations, and global power dynamics in addition to being a bilateral issue. The line of actual control is delineated between India and China along 3 sectors: Western, Middle, and Eastern. Regarding its precise location, there are substantial disputes, especially at the peripheries. China occupies Aksai Chin, 38,000 square kilometers, in the western sector. India claims this region as Ladakh. The eastern sector encompasses Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh, extending from the India-Bhutan-China junction to the India-China-Myanmar intersection. In this instance, India depends on the McMahon Line established during the 1914 Tibet-British-India Simla Convention. Conversely, China contests this line, claiming Tibet lacked sovereignty at the time. Beijing recognizes the McMahon Line as the LAC informally but claims approximately 90,000 square kilometers of Arunachal Pradesh as Tibetan territory. Less contentious, the middle sector opposes Tibet, which borders Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh in India. A confrontation took place between the armed forces of India and China at Yangtze in December 2022, along the line of actual control in the Tawang sector of Arunachal Pradesh. As reported by a Hindu newspaper, China has implemented novel approaches to consolidate its influence in the area. These include the establishment of Shikong or model villages in strategic locations, altering place names, and enacting new border legislation that India perceives as providing more significant legal protection for Chinese forces. Moreover, to strengthen India's position along its borders, the Modi administration has expedited the construction of airfields, roads, bridges, and tunnels. India has accomplished more in the past decade than in any other decade since independence to strengthen and build military preparedness and border infrastructure, and to create offsetting and asymmetric capabilities, wrote former National Security Advisor Shiv Shankar Menon in 2016. Indeed, a bipartisan resolution was introduced in the U.S. Senate last year, reaffirming Indian sovereignty over the state of Arunachal Pradesh and arguing that China's assertion regarding the region is consistent with its expandingly aggressive and expansionist strategies. Last year, Amrita Jash, an assistant professor in the Department of Geopolitics and International Relations at Manipal Academy of Higher Education, expressed her view in Scroll that the escalating instability along the India-China border further complicates the task of predicting an immediate and lasting resolution to the territorial dispute, given that armed coexistence has replaced peaceful coexistence. She stated, in light of the prevailing conditions and uncertainties along the India-China border, the likelihood of another flare-up remains extremely real. An occurrence of this nature would negatively impact the stability and security of the Indo-Pacific region and affect all relevant parties, not limited to India and China. 3.